Hi everyone, Chef Shaquay here from the Sylvia Center, a nonprofit that specializes in providing hands-on nutrition and food education for the young people of New York City and Columbia County. Today I will be making sweet corn gazpacho. Now gazpacho is a traditional soup, a traditional cold soup from Spain that has tomatoes, herbs, onions, garlic, vinegar. But today I'm doing a little twist on it and making it with corn and adding some white beans for added protein. Now let's wash our hands and let's get started. First, let's talk equipment. We're gonna need our chef knife. This will be used to help us dice. I also have a serrated knife, the knife with the little teeth. This will be used to help get the corn off the corn husks, off the cob. We're gonna need a large tongue. We will be using these because I'm going to show you a technique that we're gonna do called charring, and this will be so our hand doesn't get close to the flame. Our can openers to open our beans, a clean kitchen towel, a small skillet, and then also a sheet pan. This will be used as a landing tray for all of our vegetables that we're going to char, and of course a cutting board. I also have a blender on my counter that we're going to use to puree the soup once everything is ready to go. Here are the ingredients for our gazpacho. Of course, the star of the show, we have our ears of corn, our yellow bell pepper, our yellow cherry tomatoes, some chili powder. Here are white beans. Now you could use canned Great Northern beans or cannellini beans. Just make sure you clean the can, drain them, rinse them, and drain them again. Have an onion, our garlic cloves, lime, jalapeno, and pumpkin seeds. If you don't have pumpkin seeds, you could use sunflower seeds or just any toasted nuts. This will be used as a garnish to go on top of the soup. As I said before, we're going to do a technique called charring. So for now, we don't have to cut any of these ingredients. The only thing we have to prep is our onion. So I'll show you how we're going to cut our onion so we could char it. So with our chef knife, we're going to cut our onion. And like I said, we're going to char it. So the best thing is to keep it, we're gonna make kind of like rings, but make sure the rings are intact. How we do this is we're just gonna simply cut the top off. And this we can use for stock, so we'll save that. And then make about a 1/2 inch cut straight down. And then one more. And just make sure you wash your hands. And that's it. Now from here, we're just gonna take off the skin, and that will be for stock. And the rest of the onion we could use for another recipe, because we're only using 1/2 of the medium-sized onion for this. So we keep these intact, and now we're gonna go to the stove. So here we are at the stove, and I'm gonna show you the technique of charring indoors. Basically, we're gonna treat this as a grill. That's why I said we need our tongs. And if you don't feel comfortable doing this, by all means, you could skip this step. The charring will give it like a nice smoky flavor once the whole gazpacho is blended together, and it tastes really delicious. But like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, feel free to skip this. Now what we do, turn on our heat, and make sure your stove is clean. And then right on top of the eye, we're gonna place our corn. Using our tongs so we don't get close to the fire. Now we'll leave this here and turn it in about 2 minutes, and then you'll see the nice color that it gets. So this literally took less than 2 minutes to do all of this. Now it's time to come off of the heat. And we're gonna grab our landing tray, use our tongs, and put it right on top of our tray. Now we're gonna do the same thing for, while our bell pepper is on, I'm gonna add our jalapeno. And let's see if we can fit an onion. Now you see the importance of us keeping the onion together. Now here's our onion and our jalapeno and our pepper, and you can see the nice little marks. You don't want to go too dark just because it'll change the whole outlook of the soup, but this is like just enough to get the flavor. So I'm going to take all of this off and put it right on our tray. So our stove is off. We have all of our veggies a little charred up. Now I'm going to set it aside for it to cool. So I just turned our pan on low heat. Now I'm going to sprinkle my pumpkin seeds inside. A nice one even layer. Now we're going to agitate it for like every now and then for about 3 minutes until they're nice and toasted. So about 3 minutes have gone by. At this point you can hear it like crackling and starting to hiss. So we turned off our heat because our seeds are nice and toasted. So at this point I'm just gonna add my olive oil, salt, and chili pepper. Olive oil, our salt, and then our chili pepper, and then we're just going to toss. And our spiced pumpkin seeds are done. So what I will do is transfer these into a bowl, because remember the pan is still hot. Here we are back at our cutting board. So for the onions, I'm going to just rough chop. The bell pepper and the jalapeno, I'm going to take out the seeds and then rough chop those, and then I'll show you how to get the corn off the cob. So here are our veggies, all diced. Now, helpful hint, always wash your hands, especially after dealing with jalapeno peppers, because you don't want to rub your eye because it will cause severe burning. Another thing with jalapeno peppers, this recipe calls for 1 full one in the gazpacho. I always try a little bit of the jalapeno because you never know the degree of heat each one will have. Like some will taste just like a green bell pepper and others will be really spicy. So use your own judgment and your own spice level when deciding on how much jalapeno you want to add to this recipe. Now it's time to do our corn. So I'm using my serrated knife. Like I said, to me it's easier to get the kernels off with the serrated, but if you want to use your chef knife, that's fine. And I also have my clean towel down. Now what this does is act like a barrier and a stopper for the kernels, so they won't go everywhere once you cut them off. Now all we do is hold the kernel straight up and take my knife and go straight down. Now as you see, because it went on the towel, it was just staying right there. And that's what we'll continue to do with all of it. Now we have all of our ingredients in the blender. We have our tomatoes, our corn, our beans, our onions, bell pepper, jalapeno, onion, and garlic. I reserved a couple of the tomatoes and a tiny, maybe like tablespoon of the corn just for garnish when we bowl it up. And also I tasted the jalapeno and it's spicy, so I only used half of the jalapeno in this. Now I'm going to add my liquid ingredients, which is my water, my olive oil, my rice wine vinegar, and the juice of 1 lime. I'm going to pour that in, and now it's time to blend. So at this time, it's all blended. Now I'm just going to check for seasoning, see if I need to add a little bit more salt or pepper. And here's a nice look at it. Now if you want it like super fine, you could continue a little longer. I'll let it go a little bit longer, but let me just taste it first. Here is the final product, friends. I just took a cherry tomato and quartered it and added a couple of kernels of corn and the spiced pumpkin seeds for garnish, along with just a tiny drizzle of extra olive oil. This is best served chilled, so it's a great thing to make ahead of time and just keep it in the refrigerator, and once you're ready to serve, just pour it in your bowls and garnish. You could also garnish this with some yogurt or even some fresh herbs like chopped cilantro will be perfect with this. All right, now it's time to try. Let's see. It's so funny, you would think there's added sugar into this, but it's not, because it's really sweet from the corn and the bell pepper, but you get the smokiness from the charring that we did, and the heat, like I'm feeling it on my lips from the jalapeno. And the pumpkin seeds give it a nice crunch. So make this at home, but remember, make sure you chill it before you serve it. And even though I wouldn't recommend it because the charring gives it such a great flavor, if you don't feel comfortable charring it, it's totally fine. Thank you so much for joining me today. To see more videos like this, as well as recipes, community resources, and activities, be sure to check out www.sylviacenter.org. Make sure you like this video and you share it, and continue to stay healthy and keep cooking.